be interviewed. Okay, we're live now. The people there, the people trickling in. Oh, I'm so excited about this. I haven't seen Egberto, my good friend Egberto, in a while. I'm so excited to
But
see
we're
you
here,
and
brother. We're
Lisa.
here, brother.
Yes, and I was
Yeah.
just saying next week I will be in Peru. We're gonna go visit the family. Grandma hasn't seen the grandkids in a couple years, so we got to do that, even though it makes me kind of nervous. Egberto, Panama, y vamos a volar por Panama, and I'm just
Vamos, viva Panamá, pero perdimos en la FIFA.
well, there's bigger things than but it's you win in the world because it's a
Yes,
beautiful
we won in
country
the
and
world,
wonderful
you
people.
know.
But I
Yeah.
guess what I wanted to talk and Lisa, you've always made me so appreciative of all the things you're doing and giving me a better perspective of the hardworking people down the ballot and within the state and all the people that are working hard. And for the last year, I've been elevating as many candidates as I can find. I talked to Malat Kiros a couple months ago.
I
Which
saw that
is
you
so
did that,
impressive.
and
And the
she
fact,
won.
yeah. And
Yes.
I was in Colorado
You
in
were
her
there?
district when she won on Tuesday night,
I-
which was, yeah. Because guess what? When you do the work, you knock on doors,
Yep.
you talk to your neighbors about what they need, you
Yeah.
listen, you talk about the issues. Yes, it's a blue district, but the district was ready for the next generation.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, she defeated a progressive, but what we are seeing is we are ready for something new.
Yes.
And that win is all about the next generation, which, as Walter knows, I am trying to elevate and support. And it is not about, right, I'm just done with what the mainstream media is doing to her because that's not actually what's happening.
Yeah.
That is not what she has said.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, I am not concerned about that because we are going to carry the mantra. There's Walter out there, there's myself, there's you out there. We're the ones that I mean, the people have already given up on the mainstream media. You know, I mean, and most of the people that we're looking for the vote, they're not going to CBS or to get their news. So we got to make sure and have their channels filled up. And you know what? We're doing it. You know, I just came back from the Democratic convention. I did 52 interviews with people that are normally not on air. And
Yes.
I'm dying processing all these interviews right now. But the thing about it is 52. And I
Yeah.
went to Netroots in
Holy cow.
Philly a couple 2.5 weeks ago. I did another, I think it was like 40 something interviews out there. And again, I got some of our own. I got Maxwell Frost and I got a couple of others. What's his name from Maryland? Uh Real progressive out of Maryland. Yeah, Jamie Raskin, and
Wow.
and do you remember that woman in New Jersey, young woman in New Jersey? I love her, Ana Lilia Mejia. What
Oh,
one?
there's the Peace, Rachel Peace. She's in Jersey too. Well, that's for
Yeah,
Congress.
but the thing about it, she's in Congress now. Mejia, she won. She just
Oh,
got reelected, but she won with APAC and all these guys attacking her, and she
Mm-hmm.
came out ahead. And it was like, wow.
we got to make APAC go broke because they've
Yeah.
Well, they
attacked
are
me
going
this
to
week,
go broke.
and I
Well, they
want to go
attacked you this
back
week.
Yeah.
because look at that interview I did with Milat and Erica Kopp. Erica Kopp is also fantastic, and that was one of the happiest interviews I did. And as I was sitting there, what occurred to me is like, there's no mansplaining here. And aren't we sick of mansplaining in politics? It's like these brilliant, brilliant women having solutions for things rather than saying you're this and you're that. It's like, this is the problem. This is the solution. Let's work together and fix it. And
Thank
what we're
you.
seeing is how much of the media is APAC media. And all these people making unfounded attacks, making generalized, well, this side is anti-Semitic. They're just like, what? What statement? We got concentration camps being built in the United States. Who funded that? Who are the people that are the secret police coming to threatening to take my kids from me? That's what I'm against. Who funded that? And it's
You
the
know,
same as these corporations and these politicians.
you know what? It's so scary, and I think we have to start advertising this and talking about this. Everybody looks at what Trump and his hoods are doing. I'm talking about ICE, as if, oh, they're really going after immigrants and all of that. That's not the playbook, brother. Or brother and sister. I forgot we're two of us in here now. That's not the playbook. The playbook is election time. and the conflict that's going to come after election time. You don't build permanent structures unless you're going to throw people in there. And let me tell you, if we allow them to get away with it, and if we don't start laying out what they really have planned,
Yeah.
because we can bust their plan up, but they have it planned.
And they do. And right? The Secretary of State resigned. And now she is even walking it back in Texas because, right, it is the worst of the worst. And you know what just broke today? Kelly Hancock, who was the SD9 senator, right, who resigned to run for comptroller. And then that gave us that open primary seat for that elected Taylor Rummett. And then Kelly Hancock lost to Don Huffines in the Republican primary. And just so everyone knows, Don Huffines owns the Epstein Ranch in New Mexico.
Yep.
And, right, Kelly Hancock just resigned, and Greg Abbott appointed Don Huffines to the Texas comptroller role.
I saw that.
So that he is an incumbent and not the absolute most unqualified person on the planet to run the finances of our state.
Yes. You know what is interesting, Lisa? For here in Texas, I think they're going to get a shock, okay? Because everywhere the grassroots is out, the grassroots, and let me tell you, Tallarico was in Houston a couple of days ago. And by the way, they're doing something that I think is important. They're bypassing the establishment.
Yes.
They're going directly to the people.
Yes. And that's what we need.
Tallarico bypassed the whole system and went into I don't remember what ward it is in Houston. Next thing I am looking at my social media, and Tallarico is at a soul food restaurant, eating collard greens and oxtails. I'm like, wow, you know, and nobody knew he was coming.
Yeah.
Going direct, and you know what? I am tired of gatekeepers.
Yes.
I am tired of these guys saying who can. I just got off of another one of our Substackers that recently have been doing quite a bit of gigs on mainstream media. And I can't tell you how upsetting I was to see how it wasn't that he was speaking badly about the DSA members, but he was being condescending to the DSA victories, as if, they won in blue areas. I can put a DSA member today in Iowa and win.
Yes.
I can put a DSA member in Arkansas and win.
Yes.
Okay? And you know why? Because those people are now hurting. I've been trying. I just, before I got on, I just clicked on you, Lisa, and I saw the word rural. Did I see correctly that I saw the word rural in your? I spoke to what's his name? Studdard. Okay, the chairman. All right.
Yeah, Kendall.
I looked at him and I said, I said, hey man, are we hitting up the rural areas? We have got to integrate these people into what we're doing.
And that is why
I am.
Yes. My election and my counterpart, Rob Shelton, that's why our election at the state party, right, in Corpus Christi ended up being so incredibly important. My race, I'd probably won it, right? Because I have been nonstop on the ground with my rural counties, right? Because I grew up in a rural in a rural area, right? And so I understand what that means. But it came down to my counterpart having a very, very tough race. Now, again, I don't shy away from races, and I don't shy away from primaries, which is what I'm so upset with the establishment for. Because guess what? Every time you run, you are reaching folks who have not been reached before. And that is why you run those DSA candidates. And where I am, we don't say DSA, we say progressive. Right? Progressive means it, right? They want us, right? The national media, the establishment wants to throw all these names around. It is not. This is called, right, New Deal progressive roots, getting down to our voters and talking about issues that matter. It is no longer performative politics. It is knocking on doors and listening. And that's what happened in Colorado. That's what happened in Dallas County. right, is that actual candidates,
Mm-hmm.
right, Amber Givens, right, our new DA, on the ground. And
Yes.
so that's what happens when you are just hanging out with all your donors and all your money at your fancy parties and you are not listening to your folks on the ground.
Yes.
And so what was so important about my race and my counterpart, so we just got elected to the State Democratic Executive Committee, right? So we are now
SDEC,
Kendall
yeah.
Scudder's, yes, board. Most people don't know what that means. I was just explaining to my family, what is this? Oh, what do you mean you got elected? Yes, I had to be elected. And what is happening with the Progressive Caucus of Texas, of who endorsed me, is that we swept those races. And when I was talking with Angel Viator-Smith, who's in Houston, who is my dear friend,
Mm-hmm.
right, who now holds the one SDEC position on our state party for the Progressive Caucus. That was a win. But our race was important because my counterpart, Rod Shelton, right, lives in Ellis County, is a Black man who lives in Ellis County, who understands how important it is to actually listen and show up with our Black
Mhm.
community. And right, Jasmine Crockett is from Dallas.
Yeah.
And she is somebody that is so important to us because she has been with us. And so we have to not say, what does Jasmine do? No, what does James need to do? And so when I hear that you said James was with you, that means something.
Yes.
That's what we need to see.
I want to talk too. The messaging is so important right now and lifting each other up, because in this last week, I was expecting, on Tuesday to wake up and have everybody be so excited about Malat and the tiny little part, but I did play a tiny part in that. I'm so excited about that. Instead, it was just attacks, like pile on. And it's because the center, the power is in full on panic and things are getting really, really hostile right now. And what they always want to do is browbeat us, and they want to do what the other side does. They want to make us feel bad. They want to make us feel shame. And it's like, my position is diversity for all. I want to stand up for these things. And they're trying to twist that argument. But it's so critical now to have these voices, because they're spending all this money on these big publications. And there are AIPAC funded publications on this platform too. I guarantee there are, spreading their BS. Some of them do it passively. Some of it do it overtly. But there's very few that are out there elevating all the progressive candidates. I've personally contacted a lot of different publications saying, how about a little help? And they won't do it. They don't want to elevate these good people. They want to control the narrative. They don't want us to talk. So it's up to us. It really is up to us. And I hope you guys, I want to see both of you guys elevating more candidates. You guys are already doing great. I wanted to make this connection for even more.
Right,
Well,
and
she's governing our party.
Yes.
One of the governors of our party.
Yes.
Because she is a member of the SDEC
Bring them on.
committee, right? So she, the thing about it is, Kendall, she has direct access to Kendall, who is Kendall Scudder, who is our chair. We have had, and I hope you weren't there because I'm going to say something not the best. We have had a very weak and state Democratic Party. And
No. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm right there with you. For my last 2 years, we're going to talk about how incredible it was in Corpus Christi that Kendall Scudder was overwhelmingly elected with over 80% of the vote. It was a progressive mandate. And the sweep of the SDEC with progressive endorsed candidates, including me, including two of my friends in CD5, right, which is another critical race, right, and CD25, all the North Texas candidates, and you're going to see even the Hispanic caucus has now a new generation. My friend Chris Servine, a proud progressive endorsed by the Progressive Caucus, holds the committee man spot. He is young. And Jasmine Flores from Dallas County, she is young.
Yes.
Are now the 2 seats for the Hispanic caucus. This was, that to me, I was asked to do a survey. What was the most exciting thing about the convention? And yes, electing Kendall with a mandate. But for Chris Servine to come from behind in a caucus that is huge and has legacy and, right, is very establishment. He came from behind with a true progressive win where candidates were dropping out on the floor and endorsing Chris.
Yes.
And he won.
Nice.
I hope you're familiar with guys like Chuck Cruz as well, who just got elected. I know I see you smile. He's a good guy at that out of our area as well. So you got a lot of good people to work with.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, well, and it's just what's so exciting too, and it's like win or lose because I was talking with him. Even he lost his primary, but it's like win or lose isn't important. We got to speak. We got to keep pushing this
Yes.
message, and it's like and down ballot. So like the more people that can develop their platforms, and I keep encouraging people in the audience and people hear this replay, reach out to these candidates. They're really excited. You got 1,000 people. You got 100 people that you can interview them. But the more important is freeing ourselves to have these messages because we have to overcome all that, that corrupt money that is trying to browbeat us into silence. They always attack. They always make us feel shame, like we're asking for too much. We just have to shout them like 1,000 voices. Community is what's going to win. And more, I'm starting to understand what that even means, right? We've kind of known that's the case. We're seeing it kind of come together. And you two guys are so great too. I just love this. I love being here. The energy here, it's just so great. It just gives me hope for the future.
Well, let me tell you, the Democratic Convention in Texas, I've been to several of them, and I went to this one. And I'm sorry, Elisa, you didn't stop by to the interview side at the back of the convention because I was interviewing with
working in the floor. I had to work, right? I was working my voters.
I know.
I had to coordinate
passing.
5 counties, right? All of
But
my
let me
young
tell
Dems,
you,
my caucus
I played.
had the largest group of young Dems in the entire state as our delegations. I was a mama bear,
But
right? Taking care of all of them.
Hey, Mama Bear, listen, Lisa, I've been playing on my KPFT show every day, 2 or 3 of those interviews, and you should be one of those interviews. So
Yes. My
we
judgment.
gotta get you on Pacifica Network talking about this story as well, man, because again, people in Texas, they've been down for so long, they can't believe that they're on the cusp of good fortune if
We
they
are
perform.
so close because of what Kendall Scudder did to recruit down ballot candidates in all 254 counties. And what you saw, right? Why were you so busy? Because you had so many candidates to interview. And they were
Every
highlighted
district.
on the stage, right?
Yes.
I mean, seeing on Saturday all of those candidates, right? Katie O'Brien Duzan, right, who is part of my coordinated CD6, was on the stage. All of these down ballot candidates, down to our commissioner seat in Ellis County. That's a candidate you need to interview, right?
What's his name?
Her name, Dr. OJ.
I'm sorry. I got her. Wait a minute.
Oh, did you?
I interviewed Dr. OJ. Absolutely. And she has this flair. I mean, that was a great interview. I haven't processed hers yet though, but I interviewed her.
Yes. So she is somebody that I work with all the time. It is her race that will flip Texas, right? Because that is reaching her race in Commissioner District 4 of Ellis County. Don't even get me started on what's going on in Ellis County right now. They've got a commissioner who has been arrested not once, but twice for stealing steaks from Walmart.
Wow.
Of which I said, really? Walmart sells T-bone steaks? Apparently in Ellis County.
Yeah, okay.
It covers all their crimes. Yeah. That wasn't on my bingo card. It's like, what kind of crime? What a weird crime.
Right? So we actually have somebody who cares about the community, who understands the community, who, right, has a PhD.
Yes. Educated people, qualified people in office with compassion and integrity.
People.
Well, we have to overcome that. Why do the American people always vote for abusers? And it's like, I keep saying my motto going forward is stop with the redemption arc. It's like, stop making apologies for abusers and start elevating the survivors. It's like, there is no redemption arc until the survivors are in power. And so just don't even pressure me with your bullshit about how I need to forgive so-and-so because he paid his dues. Guy's an asshole. Let's elevate somebody who's never hurt anybody or has been hurt, because those are the people that will fight hardest to protect the marginalized. We've
Yes.
never had that in our country.
You know, it's funny because at that convention, I did about, I think it was 50-50, about 50% politicians and 50% delegates, right? And the
Mm.
the
Yes.
energy, you know, I played three of them this morning on my morning show. Three of them, the energy was just there. You know, there's a guy out of Houston, a good friend of mine, Cody Pogue. He was great, a great interview we had. A young guy, probably like 21, 22 years old. He was
Nice.
great. I mean, it was like,
Oh my gosh.
wow.
Some of the
Yeah.
brain power too of these people. I'm so
Yes,
amazed.
no, the young folks, and I have to tell you, this is one of the things now that I have an official role, now that I've been elected, and I'm planning for 28.
hmm
2028, the Texas Convention is going to be in Fort Worth, in my backyard, where, we have these 4 counties, and we kept talking about the big 5. What was so amazing about the convention was seeing the chairs of Dallas County, of Tarrant County, your new Harris County chair.
Yep.
That woman, oh my God, I
Tracy.
want to be with her
Yeah.
all the time.
Oh,
Tracy's
She's
good. Yeah.
amazing. Bear County, right? Our chair of Travis County, seeing them all together. But it's even bigger because in North Texas, right, we not only have Dallas and Houston, we have Collin, we have Denton, we have Ellis, we have Kaufman, we even have Johnson, where our latest Young Dem chapter is just making waves. Young, progressive Democrats who are doing the work. And I want to make sure that in 2028, our delegates from Houston, our delegates from the Valley, our delegates from, all over the state have the money and the resources so that they can come. Because that was the biggest thing that we saw, the barriers to organizing. Money. I found a statute, I found the Texas statute that says your employer has to give you time off to go to a convention if you're a delegate. Did you know that's in our Texas
I
election
didn't know
code?
that. I didn't know
It
that.
is. It's just like jury duty. They have to give you time off. But we didn't have enough time to talk. I mean, we did our best, to publicize that in the county, but you have to plan. And so we are planning now.
Well, you see, let me just say, Lisa, that is why we need new blood and active blood in there because that you're doing,
yes.
looking for that. You know, who sits down and read the election code, right? So I mean that you're going around and looking for that and letting people know about the rights that they have. That is like perfecto, wonderful, right?
Yes.
So I
Well,
mean, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's okay. It just brings me to something I want to talk about. Like, the media capture is so critical, and I love, it's like, thinking about 2028, we're kind of getting to that point. But I mean, we need to reform our entire media. This is really, really critical. And it's like, you just think about the stuff that is shared on the news. It's all just lies. Nobody's going to doing exposés on the women who are dying because of restrictions to reproductive health care. Like, the public doesn't know these things.
Oh, no, it's happened. I mean, but we see it. We're seeing it in Texas, right? It just happened again.
It happens.
Another woman. But again, and you have to understand, Walter, in Texas, it's a 5-alarm fire all the time. And we have to, and so, I'm curious to hear more because organizers in Texas, we will get burnt out if we have to respond to everything. And so for me, I found that little loophole in the election code because I'm an attorney. Elections, that is where I'm focused. So voting rights, I have to focus, but we have to have, but others need to focus on those reproductive rights, which in my caucus, we had people that went to that who are highlighting that. But that's, I think what you mean, Walter, we need individuals who are elevating these issues and being able to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, Michelle Davis, who writes Lone Star Left, is one of those folks. But even that, I mean, it is just drinking from I mean, like I said today, you know, we all knew Kelly Hancock had resigned yesterday, and we're like, what's the play? What's the play? What's going on? Never in a million years did I think that they were actually going to appoint Don Huffines, who is, I mean, has bought every single elected office that he has ever been in. To that role.
Yeah, controlling
the
communication. Well, that's how they steal our power. They steal the communication. And this is why, like, because we got to do something today. And I was talking to somebody before, it does no good to donate to a candidate and then have that candidate go and buy an ad on Meta, because you're funding the right when you do that. And you look at the news and they suppress all the information we need. And so this is why I'm appealing to also the candidates who have done well in their primaries, but maybe didn't win. It's like, you got to take that email list, go right to podcasting, interview the other candidates. And we have to continue to, and this is what Egberto and I've been doing, and Lisa and I, we've been doing. You've talked with Evie, platforming all these candidates, getting all these stories out there, just overcoming, so that, because AIPAC has attacked me this week because I was, you know, I elevated Melat. But if they can't fund enough people to attack, if it's the whole country, right? If every single person just grabs a microphone, whether you're talking to 10 or 100 or 1,000 or 10,000, speak. And we got to keep reaching out to each other. And you got to build those candidates up, because there's a little hit when you lose your primary. You know, it's like what you did was great. What you did was great. Look at all those people that voted for you. That's fantastic. Now use all that power and let's go look at another campaign, because we got to keep helping. It can't be so compartmentalized.
Yeah,
Walter.
and that's what. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Lisa. I'll talk after you.
Yeah. So that is, you know, Walter, I'm really glad you brought that up, because I saw that with Eric, right? I saw that in Dallas County. So we have a group of amazing young women in Dallas and Tarrant County who lost their primaries, and some had to go to runoffs, right? This is expensive.
Yeah.
Right. That's a whole nother, like, that's my other big, right? We're not doing these runoffs anymore. That's a Jim Crow era. Yeah. We're not doing that anymore. But we have these amazing young female candidates who lost, right? Who felt the consultant machine, right? And who are tired, but they're still showing up. And so that's one of the things that I want to do, because you're exactly right. Every single race, right? You reached people, you brought in people who weren't involved. And that is what is so important. And whether you were running for SDEC, I met two incredible women, right, who lost their SDEC races, right? But we're going to keep them involved, right? They're going to start Young Democrat chapters in their counties. We did not have Texas Young Dem chapters in those counties. Now we do. Right? It is taking, you know, you have to remember, every single amazing politician, a lot of times they didn't win their race. My rep, Terry Mesa, lost 4 times before she finally won.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But she also announced her retirement at my caucus, because, she knows, right? There is this new generation.
Yes.
All of these young Democrats moving to my area of Dallas County because it's too expensive to live in the city of Dallas. Right? I mean, it's just too expensive.
You know, there is interest in that. Sometimes you have to put some reality into you say certain things about the mainstream media and people don't believe you, right? Well, like I said, I interviewed about 50 something people at the convention, and her name is Diana Luna. I think she's out of HD11.
Oh, I know
Okay.
her. She's she spoke at the convention. Did you hear? There was one person screaming her head off when she walked out. Oh my God.
That was you.
That was you.
That was me.
Let me tell you, Lisa, I saw none. I didn't see Bernie. I saw no one, because I was interviewing. And the thing about it is funny, right? People say, well, are you going to go to I'm like, no. These people are here. A lot of folks are here. They want to get some coverage, right?
Yes.
I can see Bernie. I was a Bernie delegate in Philly, man. I know Bernie, so I'm fine. I don't have to see the big shots today. I want to see all of the folks that are running. So anyway, Deanna tells a story. She tells her story about running. And I asked her about rural areas and whether she's centralizing on rural communities. And she's like, yes. And these are my neighbors. They know me. They went to high school with me. So I am working on them. This is for rural areas that we have neglected for such a long time. But
So
then
long.
at the end of the conversation, the most important thing, and this is for Walter, Walter's going to get this. She says, but you know what, Egberto? Um, they interviewed me. They set me up for an interview. They interviewed me and they played the interview at 9 o'clock at night. They didn't play it any other time. And they thought they were going to hide me away with that interview. The interview on internet went viral.
Yes.
And when it
Yes.
went viral, the studio called her, the TV station called her and says, we're not doing political interviews anymore. They took
Wow.
down all the Democratic. I think this is in Abilene. I mean,
Yeah,
it's in
yeah,
Abilene. Yeah, they
yeah.
took down a lot of the Democratic interviews and said they're
Wow.
not doing it anymore.
Yep.
Thereafter, she saw a lot of her opponent on the Republican opponent on the same TV,
Yep.
even though they told her
Yep.
they're not doing it anymore. Now
See?
she was going to let that story slide. She was actually going to just come out and do what women do best, go out there and fight their asses off.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
you got to get a separate blog or a separate pod for that story. So what I did is I took that story, just the part about what they did to her, and
Hmm.
elevated that, and I'm blasting it to Daily Kos and
Yes.
everything to where it can go to show what the mainstream media is all about, as it actually
Yes.
tried to shut her out.
Yeah. Well, this is
Yep.
what we need, though. Like our Democratic, the ones that are good, that have huge platforms. It's like I'm busting my ass trying to interview, but I'm doing the work for them. If like some of the bigger platform guys, like just a 10-minute interview in their car, just to help elevate me a little bit more. Then when I turn around and try to get people elevated, it's more. And then they come back to me and we build each
Yeah.
other up. Because what's the point of going on to Fox News or some shit like that? We need to build. This is what we need to do. We
Walter,
need to build an alternate progressive media with new
Walter, let me
voices.
tell you, the
Yeah.
truth of the matter is there are two groups of progressive media out there. Okay, I sad to say, there's
Mhm.
what you do, what I'm doing, what Marlon Weems and
Hmm.
others are doing, and then there are the guys that are that a lot of them have dropped down here from mainstream
Yeah.
media, and all they're doing is having their mainstream media
Right.
click right
Right.
here on
Right.
Substack, right?
And they're
So
corporate owned, they're corporate
yeah,
sponsored, just
I
like
give up. I give up. I said, you know what? We build our own. That's why, Walter, I tell you, anytime you give me a note and say, Egberto, you will be appearing on the you'll be appearing you will be appearing
dictated.
on Walter's show today. It's like,
Oh,
Well, and that's the same thing.
I
I
love
mean,
you.
Walter said, I want to get you on with Alberto. And I was like,
Ugh.
okay, let me see if I can. And it just happened, right?
yeah.
Yes.
That it could work. But this is, right? This is what Walter does. This is what I do. I bring people together.
Mhm.
Right? Why did you get to interview Dr. OJ? Because, right, we have kind of a candidate. There's a bunch of us who are and
Yeah.
all of a sudden something went out that said every candidate needs to go down to that booth. Most of them didn't even know that they were allowed to do it, that they could do it. Because
yes.
what is
Yes.
happening with these candidates? I mean, it's one thing when, right, we ensure that these candidates had funding for filing fees, right, for
Mhm.
data access, for organizing access, all of those things. But, right, they still have to pay for campaign managers. And
Yeah.
most of them, right, I've been doing this like on the ground for 2 years and I know a lot of people, right? And I know what to do, but at a certain
Well,
point,
Lisa, if
people
what I
have to be
saw,
paid, right?
Lisa, if what I saw in Corpus Christi, you were a part of, let me give you your kudos right now. This is a very big difference from what I've seen with the party going forward. Stacey
Nice.
Gibson, in Tracy, not Stacey, Tracy
Tracy, no,
Gibson.
Tracy
She,
Gibson
yeah, she
in
got a
Harris
lot of
County.
flack in Houston, and she got a lot of flack in Harris County from the old guard. And I've been trying
Mm-hmm.
to make some amends with the old guard and her in the background. In that, look, folks, I mean, I have good friends that are very suspicious of what's going on, and I am trying to lay that foundation that
Yeah.
no, I think it's okay. I mean, and look, some people have legitimate things that they're concerned about,
So
and
you listen. So
you
you
listen.
listen. And
Right.
this has been what I've seen as the problem with the party. There are legitimate concerns. I had legitimate concerns, but nobody would listen to me
hmm
until,
Yeah.
right, I just had to make a lot of noise. I
Yes.
recruited enough precinct chairs that people had to start paying attention to me.
Right.
That is what grassroots power means, not money.
Yeah.
It was, I had enough, right? You recruit enough people that they have to pay attention to you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I have to tell you, when I saw, right, Tracy and my chair, Cardall Coleman, right, we had, there were so many upsets, like, right, it's not necessarily upsets, it's realignment, right?
hmm
The County Chairs Association elected new leadership.
Mhm.
Now, the existing leadership are two of my closest friends, and they have a lot of wisdom, and we will continue a lot of good progressive wisdom to rely on them, but the leadership needs to change. And that's what you saw.
Walter, let me give me I want to say something real quick because I want to tell a little story in Harris County. A quick one. I was a supporter of Mike Doyle. Okay, Mike Doyle is the previous
Yeah.
chair. Okay,
Yep.
I was a supporter of Mike Doyle. You know, he called me up. Yeah, I'll support you. I voted for Mike Doyle. I went before the election. I went to a and gave a speech along with Tracy. And Tracy is like superbly smart. And I sat and I told Tracy that day, I said, wow, you know, I'm sad that you're running this time for the seat because, you know, I made my commitment to Doyle and so forth, you know. And after she's young, right? And
Mm-hmm.
after I said that, I felt myself defeated, right? Because it was like, how dare me kind of I felt like I kind of oozed a little candle. Well, that woman didn't listen to a damn thing I said. It was clear because everybody thought Michael Doyle was going to win and win
Mm-hmm.
fairly big. Let me
Mm-mm.
tell you, the operation that Stacey Gibson the
Tracy.
Tracy Gibson did in Harris County. The election was not even close. It
Ah,
was a landslide. And
nice.
guess what? And everybody that I know voted for Doyle.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, and
And
that's what we saw in Dallas County, right? In our
let me tell you,
DA's race,
I
right? It was
called
the same thing.
I
Yeah.
called Tracy the day after the election. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, Tracy, the first thing I want to do is congratulate you. The second thing I want to do is say, I'm pretty damn glad you didn't listen to a damn thing that I said.
Yeah.
And the third thing that I want to say is, how the hell did you do it? And
Yes.
I said, you have something to teach the party because
Yes.
you for you to have won that way in a landslide. You had to activate, you had to do something.
Yes.
And what I tell a lot of others that are in the party, I said, instead of being suspicious of this person that walked
Yeah.
into the HCDP and now became the chair, let's learn what it is that she did to garner it, right? And I'm working with good people that they're
Yes.
apprehensive when your guy loses, right? The first thing you do is like, especially like that, you kind of get apprehensive and concerned. I am trying to get folks, no, we got to work with this woman because she
Yes.
has something to teach us.
And I want to get back to that issue of misinformation and what people get
Mm-hmm.
concerned about candidates. And what we really have to understand now, what's become clear to me is the extent to which, social media controls, it doesn't control everything, but it is a network of programming the population. And especially now with AI, we can say, I have a headache, and you see an ad for, headache medicine. They
Yes,
but they use that in other ways. Like my friend Arturo Dominguez, he was getting I'm gonna have you talk to him too, but
Yeah.
we were comparing the different messages you see on social media, like anti-political messages, and they were like, voting is for bootlickers. This is what they were directing at Arturo.
yeah,
And for me, it's like, oh, the white men are losing their place. And like for my friend Shane, they're like, oh, the young men are, the feminism is so, but I mean, they're directing political dialogue using AI. So that is what's making people ill-equipped to make good decisions, and it makes them suspicious. They're very good at dividing us. They're experts at that. And I'm seeing it happen here too. And it's like, I had the privilege, it was my privilege to talk to Francesca Hong a couple times. I've talked to her twice in Wisconsin. She's awesome. She is another rising star. I hope to everything that she gets in there because she's fantastic. And I'll have played a tiny little part in that one too. But I'm seeing the ads already on social media, the attack ads. So she's not a serious candidate. And we have to combat that. I mean, we can't just pretend and disregard that there is this corrupt AI social media unregulated mechanism that has been deployed to program the people, to divide us, to give them bad information. So this is why in the short term, we got to rely on this, these interviews talking. By the next election cycle, we need to have a progressive platform. We need to have something that, I don't know if there are good billionaires out there. I don't think there are, but if they could found a progressive platform with a meritorious algorithm, good stuff gets elevated, where I'm not constantly suppressed. I mean, the only reason you hear about me is because I'm so goddamn good, right? But it's like you overcome all the obstacles, right? All the people that have found me, it's a miracle. Wouldn't it be nice if it was just like an equivalent table? It's like I'm sick of playing soccer uphill.
Well, look, I have this feel that I've been putting out to everybody, and I'm saying we're going back to the muckraker days. Okay, so what's going to happen is we can't depend on look. The platforms that we are on, we are, as they see it, we are the demise of the wealth that they can build from the platform. So do you think they're going to do anything to elevate us? No, but there's one thing that we've got, and that is we have to make things like email vogue again, right? So that's a one to many
Yes.
conversation, right? And what I've tried, people are email out right now. What I try to tell people is you don't have to read all of my emails. I send 2, 3
Yes.
emails a day with blogs that I write a lot of blogs
Yeah.
because I want to saturate. I'm saturating. It's
Me
not
too.
only emails, it's on TikTok and all this stuff that you put in there
Yes.
because they are saturating it with their information, with their
With their
misinformation.
lies.
So
Yeah.
so we got to do the same, right? So I tell people, don't worry about throwing my stuff. Create a rule, throw all the politics done right and Egberto Offeran aside, and a headline that hits you, read it, but the rest you don't have to do it. Just keep the channel open. Be-
Yes.
because let me tell you the lie that nobody knows yet, or that aren't people aren't realizing. Right now, TikTok is still letting us feel comfortable by getting information out. So in other words, you can still Walter and Weems and all. I can still see folks stuff on the different platforms, right? But when the election time is coming near, watch how the AI that they program is going to suppress it because they're going to let you build on that platform so that you think that platform is reliable enough for you to distribute
Yeah.
your content. And then they're going to zap it from you at the most opportune time to ensure their candidates win. That is why we have to start preparing our followers, your followers, Lisa's followers, all these followers have to be ready to say, hey, remember, near the election, you're going to need to. I know we bombard you with a lot of emails, but select the few substackers that you like, that you know you can trust, and periodically check out what they have to say because the other avenues are going to be. Look, they bought this up for a reason. They
Yeah.
bought CBS. CNN will be in their hands by the end of the. I mean, all of this stuff is
Yes.
prepared, and
Yes.
we have to be one step ahead of them. And while we still have the platforms, we have to tell the folks, hey, this is only temporary because near the election time, you're going to have to seek us. They are not going to be
Yeah.
giving you what you want.
Mhm.
Yeah. And this goes back to that creation of community. And
Yes.
so when you are actually out there knocking on doors, when you are actually talking with folks and opening up spaces and inviting, these down ballot candidates to just come and talk to
Yes.
a local group, and they become invested because we have just gotten away from just talking to folks and having hard conversations,
Yes.
Sometimes, again, going back to, that you called Tracy Gibson and you talked to her, I know even in my race, I need to, set down, have some conversations and welcome people in, because this is this can be hard. This is hard business.
Yeah.
It is. But you're absolutely right. I know. And that's why I said I'm singularly focused right now on what's going on with our voting and our elections, because what I know is that this is going to be close. And Dallas County, Donald Trump is now holding a convention at American Airlines in Dallas County. This is, I know, the nation has always been focused on the shenanigans in Harris County, and there have been a lot of shenanigans. Right? That's why I know Rep. Christian Menefee so well, right? Because he was ground zero for all those shenanigans a couple of years ago, right? But what we know is that they are targeting Dallas County. Why? Because the mainstream Republicans are voting for Tallarico. I know they are, because they told me so at the polls. Those who came and voted in the Republican runoff, when they left, they were ready to vote for Tallarico. And that, when you have Ken Paxton, that is our attorney general, when you have, Nate Schatzline, I mean, these people who are going to be running our elections, are awful.
Yeah.
And so we have to be able to reach out to our community and ensure that they know how to get to the polls, when to get to the polls, and who to vote for.
Yes.
Well, as one of the person with the political platform now, Lisa, I think I'll just say, I hope you'll be directing all your other cohorts to really start seeking out the independent media folks, because right now what we have, is people would seek independent media out, and as soon as they get the first offer from mainstream media, it's like you drop it happened to me. Like I had, and I said, I'm not saying this to complain. I'm saying this because this is just how it has happened, right? I had me arranged an interview that was going to really blasting out on KPFT 90.1 FM with Crockett, and we that entire Saturday we got it postponed every hour. But and in the process, I see her on MS Now, I see her on all the others, and then by the end of the night, they're like, okay, well, you know what? Let's just do it in the morning. Okay, fine. So they string me along the entire time, right? And then they call from the airport. Is this a video interview or an audio interview? I do everything video because that's how I do my interviews. Okay. Even Tallarico, when I interviewed him, Tallarico was in a car with a phone. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, and I'm trying to reach him again, by the way. But anyhow, but I never got the interview done. Now, she underperformed in Harris County.
Yeah.
She underperformed. I mean, and the thing about it is, let me be very honest, okay? And I get into trouble for just telling this statistical fact. You take a look at the numbers and how the spreads were. That wasn't a very, a very well run campaign. And I tell you who had a very well run campaign. Tallarico. Tallarico reminds me of how Obama ran his campaign. Obama said, to hell with the Democratic Party who can't get their shit together. I am going to create Obama for America, and I'm going to do the micro targeted myself. And he expanded on what Dean did. I don't know if you're old enough to know about Dean.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. No, I remember.
Okay.
I remember.
But Dean, forgive me, but I'm showing my age. But Dean, Governor Dean, went ahead and he started this 50 state thing, and Obama just picked up on it and micro targeted. Well, Tallarico is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But the idea that Tallarico jumped into Harris County without the establishment knowing tells you something.
I would want to say too, it's like we can't be fooled by the numbers. Like a lot of people are dazzled, and even here on Substack, you'll see some of these publications. Oh, they've got 500,000, and it's like they don't. Those are all fake bot accounts, so that you are distracted from people like me. And it's like we really need our candidates to understand they have to level us up too. It has to be both ways. We all have to level each other up, because we have to overcome the establishment, which is going to suppress. They're going to
Yes.
suppress. They're going to do exactly like you said. They won't distribute the interview the way they think they will. You won't get any views from it. And even though like my subscriber base is much, much lower, you'll actually get more of an impact because it's legitimate. It's not these corporate funded fake accounts that
But you know
inflate
what
the
else,
numbers.
Walter? When your people come to you, right? They spread your word into my own chat. So I mean, your 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 spread is so much larger than your actual count
Mhm,
because
mhm.
you every single if you look at our chat right now, everybody in that chat is a member of another chat,
That's right.
and they're intersecting chats,
Yes.
but
Yes.
they also each have their own spheres, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so your reach is so much larger than your numbers, and it's real reach because it's real people. It's not a broadcast ABC commercial that just
hmm
broadcasts everything to everybody, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, they
So
know us personally, but we do have to just change that. We have to understand we need to reform a progressive media. Everybody's gotta just get in that habit more. And like you were saying, when you're knocking on doors, if you're talking to somebody for 20 minutes, mention 3 other candidates. Mention me. Bring a QR code for the video, the interview I did of that
mhm.
candidate. We can do
That's
all
right.
kinds and like add these interviews to your campaign webpage. All these things that we can do. We can lift each other up. We have
And we
to.
can tell the other candidates to use us, right?
Yeah.
Walter, use us. In other words, and Lisa, this is actually where you're at. You are in a position of leadership now
Yeah.
that you can actually send out memos through the entire. You have the mailing list.
The
Put it that
levers
way.
of
That's right.
power.
You
She's got
have
the
That's right.
you
levers of
have
power.
to put it bluntly. You have the mailing list, Lisa. You can say, you know what? These are people that I have sanctioned to talk to you guys that are going to
Oh,
do
that would
good
be
by you.
huge. That would
And
be
again,
huge.
so Walter, trust me, she's powerful. She doesn't, she's
There's
on that.
levers of power.
Yeah,
She's
she
like,
got the.
Well, I mean, as I say, I've just been doing it anyway. Right now, I just get the official, right? I mean, but that's why you have to run. I mean,
Yeah.
2 years ago, I didn't know what SDEC was. I didn't, right? And people often say, Lisa, why don't you run for office? Well, maybe, but right now where I see, right, where I can have the most impact
Mhm.
is within our party because of my ability, just like Walter says, right? Why are all these candidates now getting pushed? Why did they all come down to see you, right? We are all
yeah.
coordinating, right? The
Mhm.
fact that I could feel so connected to Milan in Colorado, right? Because I knew
Yes.
Walter had interviewed her.
Oh.
Nobody else was talking to her,
Mhm.
right? But and that's the same thing. I was here in Oregon, right, a year ago, right, and I was talking about Taylor Ramett. I was talking about him, and nobody knew who he was, and.
I didn't.
and
You know,
no, and you know what, right? Why I didn't, I saw Bernie, that was great. But when I got to see Bernie a year ago in June, Taylor Ramett
Yeah.
set up a union rally and Bernie came,
yes.
right? And I was sitting next to Taylor. Right?
Yeah.
We've been on the
Yes.
ground. And so when Taylor won, everybody, right, it's making national news, right? This Trump plus 37 district or whatever.
Yes.
He had a progressive message, but he knew his district. He was talking about public
Yeah.
education. He was talking about affordability. He was talking about greater access to healthcare.
Yeah.
Because in his district, right, which has some of the wealthiest areas of Tarrant County, right? Those are folks who pay out of their
Yes.
pocket for healthcare.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not only the folks who can no longer pay the Obamacare, right, premiums because the subsidies were cut in the big bad bill, right? It is now W-2 workers who make high wages, whose health
Yeah.
insurance premiums are too high.
Yes. Imagine if like Mamdani never made a statement to the legitimate, the legitimate, like the legacy press. What if he only talked to small substackers? What if every time he sat down, because the media needs him more than he needs the media, and they can
Yeah.
take the quotes from a conversation with me and publish it in their papers so they can't ignore us. I mean,
Exactly.
and I know Milan's got a lot on her plate too, But it's like if we talked with Erica Kopp, and it's like she should be interviewing Erica again. Now let's elevate Erica to get in there. Just cut the whole mainstream media out of the
That
equation.
the thing about it is, it's like that muscle memory they have to get rid of. That
We have to tell
muscle
them. We have to.
memory
This is how
because
we do it.
a lot of them, it is funny because I don't know. Beforehand, I just want to give you all some good news. Josh Turek, the Senate guy running in
In
Iowa,
Iowa.
is
Mhm.
ahead by 4 points in registered voters. In likely voters, it's even larger. So I mean, it tells you
Nice.
something. But
Good.
let me tell you, we have to get that message out that we need to platform independent media. You know
Yes.
when AOC before AOC became AOC, right? She came to a Netroots Nation, and when I interviewed her, I was like
Oh,
superbly impressed. I had never,
Mhm.
yes.
I mean, she's smarter than anyone
Yeah.
believes, right? So at the end of that conversation, I shook her hand and I said, "You will be the next rep from New York." And remember, she was running against the guy who was supposed to be the next
Yeah.
speaker
Yeah.
Mhm.
of the house. And I said that, and she's like, "Oh, really, really? Yeah, I mean, you got it, girl." Well,
On 10 grand and hope and integrity, she
yes.
ran. No money,
Here's
just
the
Right,
kicker.
what she did, and that's right. I mean, people act like right. Madani came out of nowhere. No, he
He
has
was
been running
working.
to be
Yeah.
mayor of New
yeah.
York for several years, right? Like,
Yeah.
right. It is that. First of all, you have to make a plan. Now, you can have a grassroots candidate, but Mila she has had a plan, right?
Yeah.
She
Oh,
is a
she's great.
smart, right?
Oh my
She's a
God,
lawyer.
she's
She
brilliant.
But
is
Good.
not only
smart.
that,
She
she
knew her
gave up
district.
a big
Yes.
time
Of
job
integrity.
for her values.
Yes. Well, she
Mhm.
got fired because she wrote
Yeah.
and it's like if human rights were more important than the money she was bringing in. That's what we need in the government. Absolutely. She proved it. She proved her integrity with sacrifice. And yes, like if we could get Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, talk to me for 5 minutes. All of a sudden, every time I interview another progressive candidate, they're getting all kinds of money because she can't be everywhere.
Now that's the message that I didn't finish saying about AOC. It was as soon as AOC got elected, a wall was built.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And
but it's
all the numbers that I had to reach went then,
yeah,
before the election, it was easy. We have got to stop that. Progressives have got to understand who their friends are. You
yeah.
know, when they
Lift
come, the
us.
same thing with Cory Bush, right?
Mm.
These folks have to understand that you don't just go to independent media when you're persona non grata with the mainstream media. We should
Yeah,
be first, or we
yeah.
should be at least adjacent.
Yeah, the message doesn't go away if it starts here. Like we
Right.
said, the media can still quote from this interview, and so just
Yes.
add that in. It costs no extra time. Happy to do it on a phone. We'll get a couple, and every one of us knows more and more people. We're making more and more connections. We start just trickling that message out there, and sooner or later, just share my list of the candidate interviews, please.
Walter,
There's
guess who does
50.
that?
I'm sorry.
Walter, guess who does that, Walter? The
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
The right,
exactly.
Walter.
Right? I
The
mean,
right does it. You get somebody you never
Oh,
heard of
yeah,
talking to
yeah.
somebody big,
Well,
talking to the
they're paid
president.
for it, but they own the media
Yeah,
already, right? So we have to
yeah.
fight against that. Yeah,
Well, that's
yeah,
true.
yeah. I
well,
mean, yeah,
I mean, it's just one conversation at a time, and
yeah.
that's right. And it's these connections, and it's so funny because Walter has done more to connect me with folks actually in Texas,
Awesome.
right, than anybody else in Texas has done, and he's out there in Wisconsin,
Hey,
Yeah,
right?
Lisa, Walter connects. Let me tell you, Walter connects everybody, dude. I mean, I'm
oh,
sorry,
you
he
guys are so
connects
nice.
everybody. You
You
know,
guys
he
are
Right,
so
connects
and he
lovely.
everybody.
just says, right, I mean, he texted me, you need to meet this person. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I've been excited to do it. I wish I had more energy. I'm so tired. A big one though is that citizens impeachment group. They've coordinated, and everybody contributes in different ways. They've coordinated like 150 different congressional candidates. And
yeah.
once I talk to Kira, I'll have to have you talk with Kira too, Egberto. That'll be
Yes.
great because they're sitting there. It's a think tank. It's like this
Mhm.
is the legislation we're going to pass. They have conversations once we get elected, and it's like, yeah, not all of them are going to get elected. But the ones that get a good showing in the primary, get name recognition, you turn around and support the other guys. You don't just disappear because this isn't one election. This is the rest of our lives
It's
until
not.
everybody is saved. Yeah.
Right. And it's that education. It's that so many people always say, right, I don't do politics. Well, politics is doing you.
Does you,
right?
yeah.
Right.
Yes.
It's that old, but it's when you have these folks that are right, all of these folks, and this goes again to what we were talking about. Anybody who lost in the primary in Texas, I guess, I mean, I don't know how people are having this primary now. I feel like it's already November, right? And you don't know who your candidates are. I mean, we still
Yeah.
right. Michigan hasn't even had their primary yet.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wisconsin
like,
either.
right. I mean, it was like our primary was back in March, and I felt like that was,
There's a lot of
we didn't have
races,
enough time.
There's a lot of races we can still dramatically change. And this occurred to me a year ago. It's like they're vulnerable. These incumbents are vulnerable. There are some districts you can win with 10,000 votes and you can get rid of the old guard. It's a lot easier than starting a third party. Let's just run some good people. And now these last 2 weeks have got the center in a panic because we've seen candidates with no money, but people with integrity. People are listening to that message. All the lies. And they're doubling down this week, attacking all the good people, but they're going to lose because people are fed up.
Suddenly on TV, they're all talking about we're a big tent. We're a big, not that USA should win it. We are a big tent. What's his name? Our supposedly speaker that I'm not really going to be supporting. What's his name?
Jeffries?
Jeffries, okay?
Oh, Jeffries? Okay.
Yeah. Jeffries finalist decided I'm going to have a chat with Mamdani and
Yeah.
and
Now,
it's like,
you're right.
no, all of his constituents are supporting Mamdani.
Yeah.
And he's having a problem because of AIPAC? Come on, man.
This is what I said. The Democrats got MAGA elected. With their rhetoric, the way they attack MAGA, they've turned around and they're attacking the Democratic Socialists. That's the best thing for the Democrats because everybody hates those centrist Democrats.
Exactly.
The ones that lecture us, they only have talking points from their corporate donors. So they talk down to us. They insist on rigging every primary. They don't. That's what's happening in my district here. Emily Berge, I've called her on the phone when there was a threat of ICE coming to the air. I kept my kids home from school. I called her in a panic. And she calmed me down. This is what we're doing because she was in charge of the city of Eau Claire. Mm-hmm. And after I got done with that conversation, I'm like, that's what our government can be. Representatives who are at your disposal when you are scared for the safety of your kids. And she's going to win
that's what happened in our city council race, right? And we ran on keep ICE out of Irving. And that, right, because we needed somebody who was going to acknowledge that this is happening, as opposed to some of our other elected officials are like, oh, it's not happening. But when I know that in my city, right, on the way to school, fathers are being picked up and thrown in detention, right, that meant something. And so now we have an elected official who is on the ground, who is talking about it, right? And so we are bringing the organizations, right, who are finding out where ICE is. We are highlighting our other groups, right? Because part of the problem is that you talk what's happening in Texas right now. You speak out against ICE, right? We just saw this. All of those folks in Fort Worth who were sentenced to prison for 100 years.
100 years. I spoke about that today. Yes.
For protesting ICE. And protesting exercising their First Amendment rights.
Yeah. Can we start arresting child rapists instead of innocent, people that have committed no crime? Because it is legal to cross the border as long as you apply for asylum within a year. That is the law. And again, the corrupt media doesn't tell people. The same with the election law you mentioned. People just don't know what the truth is. And we can't just retreat from all this propaganda. We have to forge our own mechanism. Go ahead, Egberto.
No, I'm just agreeing.
Yeah. Oh, good. I see we're over time a little bit. I mean, this has been so exciting. I love it. I mean, the energy is so great. But you guys have final thoughts as we kind of wrap it up. I'd keep you all day. I love you guys.
Love you too, man. I want to, now that I know the new SDEC powerhouse out there in Central Texas, I got to get her on the KPFT 90.1 FM.
Well, let's do it.
Walter made another connection. DM me all your information.
I will. I'm excited because it is these connections. This is what, the Republicans in Austin don't want Dallas and Harris to start talking to each other. They don't. They want to keep us fighting with each other. We start making those connections, right?
Yes.
Which is what our convention did. Our convention, brought all of these folks together. Yes. And the fact that you were there and I was there and we had a lot of people that we both know, right?
It's funny because it was just so many people. I hadn't seen that many people at a convention in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the great things, we just got lucky with Substack because it's got the people can subscribe. You can't curate your feed anywhere else, right? You just are doom scrolling all the time. And it's just by accident, Substack allowed people, I'm going to follow this guy and plug your email in there. You get to decide the information you absorb. So that's why we need to direct more people to the good voices, the new voices. Stop listening to the legacy press. Certainly stop supporting people that are already worth millions and millions of dollars who have been, benefiting from corruption for their whole professional careers. Stop adoring like the illusion of power because they really don't have any. And also, they're going to insist that you give all your time, work for free for them. There's never going to be a reward. The only reward comes from lifting up your fellow people in community. And we just need to change that and start getting a couple of the guys. All we need is Mamdani to break the seal, or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or any of them. Kamala Harris could jump on. She's not in office right now. She should be on all these podcasts, giving us more credibility and visibility. If you want to see that blue wave, we got to get the blue voices a little bit louder, and we're working
right.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's those down ballot races that will change America in all 50 states.
Absolutely. So,
I'm ready to
folks, please support independent media. That's all I'm going to say. We need your support for independent media. That is what allows us to do what we're doing. And Walter is also one of the good ones that I always keeping people connected.
Yes,
Connected,
and sponsorships are great, but the shares are big, and share to other platforms and word of mouth. We can beat this with word of mouth because the tech bros own all the screens, but you own your eyes and you own your legs and you own your hand to knock on doors. And unless you surrender that, they can't take it from us. And that's why we're going to win. Absolutely. All right, let's leave it there. You guys are so great. You guys make me so happy. And everybody in the chat, I love you. Thanks so much.
Love you guys. Have a good
All
one.
right.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye.